everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is April and today we are doing our February and March reading wrap-up. I did not get a February reading wrap-up done because life and because I don't even know how to explain it all, but yeah, it just didn't happen. That's okay. But let's go ahead and get started. So in February, I read 5 books, which is the same as January, so a good start to the year. The first book that I read was a reread for me. I was just really in the mood to reread something, and I kind of wanted some Kristi and Hunter. So I reread A Pursuit of Home, which is a 5-star read for me. It is the 3rd book in the I don't know if it's a Haven Manor series or it's Secrets of the Manor or something like that. But it's really good. It follows Jess, who we actually originally meet in, why am I blanking on the name of Kristi and Hunter's most popular novel? A Noble Masquerade, sorry. We meet Jess first in A Noble Masquerade, and she finally gets her time in the spotlight in A Pursuit of Home. So it's a really good story, and it's really interesting. Next, I read The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This was my first time reading this. I did not read like all the childhood classics when I was a kid. I grew up reading missionary stories and things like that, and so I'm kind of trying to go back at this time in my life and reread these classics. Not read them for the first time. This was also my first classic of the year. One of my reading goals is to read at least 3 classics. So this was the first one of the year. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was really cute. I enjoyed it. It was very descriptive. I love the descriptions of the garden. I enjoyed the story. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. Next, I read Mist Over the Channel Islands by Sarah Sundin, her newest release. She got me again. I loved it. I did not love it as much as her previous last year's book, but Midnight on the Scottish Shores. Sorry. My mind is blanking on all these book names. I did not love it quite as much as Midnight on the Scottish Shores, but I still really loved it. Ivy was really great. Garrett was really great. I loved the little reunion at the end with his cousin. Not going to get too much into that, but that was great. I always love Sarah Sundin's books, and yeah. I have a feeling that this one will probably again end up in my top 10 of the year, as her books mostly do. But I definitely recommend this one if you like World War II fiction. So next, I finished a series that I started in January, and that is the Harbors of Spies series by Megan Soja. Although I think she has a 4th book coming out like next year, so I guess I've finished the series that she's published so far. And so that would be number 2, Secrets of the Revolution, and number 3, Scars of the Revolution. So the first book, which was Spark of the Revolution, follows Patience Abbott as she comes from England to Boston when the Patriot cause is kind of ramping up, and it takes place around the time of the Boston Tea Party. Secrets of the Revolution follows her brother Will, who he was originally supposed to go back to England, but he decides to stay and he joins the Patriot cause, and he keeps having run-ins with an apothecary's daughter named Hannah, and when Patriot espionage enters the scene, things kind of ramp up a little. So that was really good. I gave that one 4 stars. The 3rd book was Scars of the Revolution. This follows Will and Patience's stepsister, Libby. And she is a patriot at heart, but when she was young, she had a crush on a young British soldier named Isaac, and now he is back, and he is quartering in their house, and so she feels that same old childhood love coming back. However, they're on opposite sides of a conflict, and she's a bit torn between two worlds. And again, tension rises, and that's all I'm going to say. This one I gave 5 stars. It was excellent, and I am very much looking forward to the 4th book in the series whenever it comes out. I'm not sure when it's coming out, but she's posted a few things about it on her Instagram. Megan Soja has, and I was like, so the characters that the 4th book is going to be about, we meet one of them earlier than Scars of the Revolution, but we see both of them in Scars of the Revolution, and I remember, like, I think they have, like, one interaction in this book, and I looked at that and I was like, huh, I see something there. And then I saw on her Instagram that they're going to be the leads in the next novel, and I was like, okay, I think I'm here for it. So anyway, that was February. 5 books, all very good. 4 stars, 5 stars, nothing crazy. I've actually had pretty good luck with books this year, I think. I haven't had any that I've really hated or disliked or DNF'd. Have I DNF'd anything? Oh, I did sort of DNF. Okay, so I started, hold on. I started Hearts in Circulation, and I DNF'd it like a couple pages in at first because she was talking about, like, cursing people, and I was like, is this a thing? I don't think I want to read something about, like, somebody, and I was like, she's kind of joking, but she's also kind of not, in a way. Like, I don't know. It just seemed really weird to me. And so I just kind of, like, put it down. But then I saw on Instagram, everybody was talking about how there's, like, really great spiritual content in this book and how good it is. And I was like, okay, maybe I just had, like, a bad first impression. So I am going to try to pick this one back up and give it another shot. Maybe this month or next month. But, yeah, so this isn't, like, a hard DNF because I was convinced by all you people on Instagram to give it another shot. So I will be giving that another shot. But I think that's the only book that I've really DNF'd so far this year, which has been great. All right, let's move on to March. So in March, I read 3 books. It was a lot slower month for me for reading. It's just an out of the ordinary month for me. Not just for reading, but just kind of in life, I guess. But the first book that I read was The Rules of Falling for You by Molly Rushmeyer. This is, I don't know why I thought it was her debut novel, but it's not. I think that it was maybe her debut novel with Bethany House, or maybe I'm just mixing her up with somebody else. I don't know. But this is a contemporary romance, so it has Zoe. She runs a Jane Austen podcast, a Regency podcast, because it's not Jane Austen she's obsessed with, it's somebody else. I think it's like a fictional Regency writer But she runs a Regency podcast which talks about modern day dating, but from a Regency lens. And so she basically gives out love advice, but from a Regency lens. And anyway, so her podcast she's going to go to, like, this Regency inspired singles retreat, and she's going to, like, film it for her podcast. And her best friend's brother, Harrison, is going to be her camera crew. But he's, like, been secretly in love with her since they were teenagers. And so there's that. So things kind of go from there. There's a lot of, like, antics, but also a lot of, like, really kind of deeper storylines as well. It's a good balance of, like, funny and moving. I did enjoy it. I gave it 4.5 stars. And the only reason I think I gave it, like, I took that half star off is, okay, I think it was a little slow for me getting started. I don't know why I just wasn't into it in the beginning as much as I was towards the end, although I did cry in one of the scenes at the end, so, like, it got me. I was questioning it in the beginning, but it got me in the end. But also, like, y'all, just because we like Regency, it does not mean we have to like everything about Regency. This girl was like obsessed with Regency sideburns. And I was like, attraction is subjective. Everyone is different. But like, why the Regency sideburns? I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear about it. I'm sorry. Anyway, that was just me being a little like, But anyway, I gave it 4.5 stars. It was actually really, really good, and that's just me being silly. But yeah, I was reading this going, why is she obsessed with Regency sideburns? Let's not. Let's leave that in the Regency. We can like Jane Austen and not like everything that happened in the Regency. The next book that I read was Karen Witemeier's, I've recently learned that her name is pronounced Witemeyer. And I'm going to try very hard to pronounce that correctly. But I've also been saying Witemeyer for, like years and years and years. So it's going to take me some time to ingrain that. So Karen Witemeier's newest book, Taming Lady Temperance. So this follows, this is the first book in the Secret Society of Spinsters. It's kind of a tongue twister. So it follows Noreen. She is, as the back describes, an enthusiastic member of the Women's Christian Temperance Union. She has some personal traumas from her past that makes her really, really pro-temperance, and she kind of causes some ruckuses in town trying to get the temperance movement going, and she has some run-ins with our deputy, James Paxton, and she decides to enlist his help in the temperance movement, and he's kind of a reluctant help because he believes in temperance, but he's also trying to run for sheriff, and having, helping out the woman that most of the town hates is not going to help him there. But there's also some chemistry there. So things take off from there. It was good. I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. And I'm having trouble coming up with anything that I especially loved or didn't love. It was just a book that I gave 4 stars that I enjoyed. It wasn't in my top echelon. It wasn't a 5-star, but it was 4 stars. It was really good. I always enjoy Karen Witemeier's books, and I look forward to the next part of the series. So finally, the third book that I read in March was a nonfiction book, and that was Creating a Writing Life by Jill Kemerer. Hope I said that right. She is a best-selling author, a multi-published author, and it's just a book of kind of advice for authors and writers and scheduling and how to, form their routine and the highs and lows. It was good. I gave it 5 stars. It was very informative. It also kind of made me laugh in some places because she really drives home the message here that being a novelist and an author is not typically something that you can make a full living off of. But she kept saying it like people don't know that. And I guess, yeah, a lot of aspiring authors don't know that. And it's maybe just because I have a background in publishing, I have a master's in publishing, that I was like, no, that's really common knowledge. I don't know why we're driving this point home over and over again. But then I'm like, well, I also have a background in publishing, so maybe that's why it's so common knowledge to me. But yes, everything in here was really informative and really interesting, and I related to it a lot as a writer myself. So I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 5 stars. So that was all 8 books that I read in February and March, and we will get the April reading wrap-up out hopefully as soon as April is done. I'm not going to skip another month, hopefully. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for always being here, and let me know what you've been reading because I'd love to hear.